Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Friday, guys. Got our coffee. So I thought today we would talk about what, how much do you help, others in your area when it comes to working on their own stuff? Where's the fine line between affecting shop work and helping somebody fix their own? Because it is a dilemma for us shop owners because part of us are looking at, for the shop, the other part is trying to help people out. So you have to find that balance. So stick around and see if we can't find it together. All right, so what are we talking about today? Well, first off, my name is Eric. If you didn't already know it, this is the weekday show, Monday through Friday. Today is Friday. We have daily uploads and sometimes two a day, depending on if I see a teachable moment. I like to try to do it, you know, how to repair something educational. And then on the weekends, we do personal development sometimes, where I try to find a balance of being a well-rounded individual, right? So you get a little mix of everything here on the channel, and it's separated by weekday, educational, self-development, and all three of them are all on podcast as well. So you can download it and listen to it in your vehicle, or if you're out running or whatever, or you're working in the shop, you can just simply have the volume on so you can hear what I'm saying. But today I'm talking about the fine line. And I bring this up because I'm the culprit most often of this. And case in point, I had this fella last week show up at the shop. And he was having issues with a push bar. And he had a flywheel in his hand, all right? And one of the other shops, I worked with this guy at the mines for years, good guy, sent him over to us. So if everybody's got that flywheel, probably Eric does used, because Randy didn't know I had gotten rid of all my scrapped out everything. So he brought it over. I'm looking at the flywheel, or the flywheel, and he's saying that the spot where the keyway goes is rounded, and I'm looking at it, and it's fine. And I told him, I said, look, because he didn't have the rest of the lawnmower, he just had that. I told him, I said, you got more problems than that, bub. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, I don't see any movement. And here's a square stock instead of a half bone. Drive that back on, and if that's your issue, it'll take care of it. But I said, did you check compression on it? Yep. Adjust the valves? Yep. All that good? Yep. So he went on his way. I give him the keyway, key stock. But I get back from going into town quick, and Claude says, there's some guy said he was here last week about his lawnmower, his flywheel with the keyways, and you gave him a keyway, and he wanted to know if he could bring the whole mower out to have me do a compression check on it. And is this a freebie, or is this something that you're doing on the side here? And so I was just trying to help the guy out. He picks up old, not sometimes old, even good looking stuff on the side of the road. Tries to put a little bit of money into it and then resells it to make extra money. So Claude says, that's kind of like what we do, right? We bring in stuff that needs to be fixed, we fix it, and then we give it back to our customer for money. Kind of the same deal of buying and reselling. Yep. So why are we doing that? Felt sorry for the guy. As well as taking shop time away from everything else if you want me to work on this push mower. So I didn't ask you to work on the push mower. I'll work on the push mower. I said, just do a simple compression check. So probably 15 minutes after I got back, the guy come pulling in. Had the push mower in the back of his old truck. So I told him, I said, bring it in. So he brought it in. Even before I put it on the table, I give it a pull, and there was no resistance. So well, I can tell you right now, there's no sense of throwing a compression tester on it because there's nothing there. I said, were you into the valves? Yep, I adjusted them, and it takes a size 10 and a size 14, so I know what it takes. I'm just asking you, did you know about how to set it top dead center and adjust your valves? And he said, yeah, I did all that, and it didn't work. Okay. So by this time, Claude has decided to come out and see what's going on. So I told the guy, I said, let's lift it up onto my table. I said, there's no sense of putting a compression tester on it just yet. There's nothing there. There's no resistance. And if the valves are adjusted wrong, I can see it losing compression there. So I grabbed the tools, popped the valve cover off. Valves weren't adjusted right. But even with adjusting the valves correctly, we still couldn't get a reading on our pressure gauge. It's how low it was. It's crap. So Claude's looking at me, and I'm kind of... So the guy says, what can you do for me? I said, about what? He said, well, I bought that new plug from you, and I just put it into this lawnmower to get it going, but it won't go. What could you give me for the whole lawnmower? And I can see the steam coming off Claude's head. I said, look, here's the skivvy. For someone to come in and for us to do a compression check, adjust the valves, spend the last half hour with you trying to diagnose what's going on with your machine would be an automatic $40 charge for diagnostic. I'm not going to charge you that, but I'm also not going to pay you for that lawnmower that has no compression. I mean, if I paid you anything, even a dime, I would take a loss for scrap. But he's like, well, look at all the good parts on it. There's a good rewind on it. It's got a good body on it. I say, well, good. Take it home. Put it in your salvage pile. And if you need parts off from it, pull it off. But after the guy left, Claude said, why are we doing this? If you give in just a little bit to some of these guys, they're going to be coming here picking your brain for everything. And we don't have time to teach other people how to fix stuff and make money, thus losing out money in our shop. And he's right. There's a fine balance there. And finding that balance, because part of me wants to teach people how to do it and how to do it right. And the other is we need shop work. Could this guy have afforded us to drop off his lawnmower to have it done? No, I know he couldn't. Not even close. I don't think he had $10. So why waste your time there? Because I kind of feel sorry at times for the underdog, we were somewhere, we started somewhere when we first started this business, and trying to learn how to do it. And I can tell you that no one was willing to tell me how to do it. And that is, how to run a small engine repair business. Nobody else would talk to me. It was a closed network. It was kind of like, no, if you're going to try to compete in our arena, you need to figure it out, or not. You're not going to last. That's all there is to it. It wasn't until we got up and going and got to any size that the other shops started kind of lighting up a little bit. Especially, when I went to them, as I explained to you, make the other shops your friends. Don't make them your enemies. Make them your friends and try to help them out. And that's what I did. Once we started rolling, I didn't hold a grudge because they weren't willing to help me. I just said, look, if you need anything or I can help you with anything, just give me a shout. And left it at that. And since, it's been quite a few years, I developed good relationships with the other shop owners, as well as with their employees, and they have with my employees, And we share information, especially like new stuff coming out, stuff we've never seen. Out of like 15 mechanics, maybe one mechanic might have seen it before. But if it's not my mechanic, I know that my mechanic can talk to that mechanic to find out how did you do the workaround on it, and he will be free with that information because he knows Claude will be free back with the information if he needs it, just the way it is. But by doing that type of a share of information, you're not really taking shop work from yourself. If anything, you're helping yourself. Because I know a lot of times of where the bigger shops are concentrating on warranty because that's where their bread and butter is. And they got a bunch of, older lawnmowers people want fixed, and they just start pushing them towards us, They'll call me and say, have you got openings, or you want me to push some your way? Absolutely, go ahead. And the same thing with me. If I got some that come in for warranty and I don't have time to dick around with them, I'll send them over to those guys. Because I really, warranty, you know how I feel about warranty. So a lot of times it's not warranty. So by pushing it over to the bigger shops, they handle it and they deal with it. But you are taking time away from the shop if you're doing it on shop time. And, even Claude here 2 weeks ago, because he gets asked a lot if he would be willing to work on stuff nights and weekends. And he said, if it has anything to do with what we do at the shop, absolutely not. I can come take a look at it. But if, as far as turning a wrench or telling you how to fix it, it's not going to happen. Because it's taking food off my table of work we should get for the shop. And I appreciate that. And I understand where he's coming from when he says you need to stop this with, these guys that are just junkers that are trying to scarf up money. So there is a balance. But as you as a shop owner need to know that balance. And I'll tell you, the guy was a little upset because I wasn't willing to buy his push mower that was junk. I even offered to let him have 4 of them that were on the hill if you wanted to take them for free. That's how good a guy I am. While we're on that subject, I worked for companies that had you could not compete against agreements. And I also worked for companies that you couldn't disclose how you went about doing things. It was proprietary. So if you're a mechanic and you work for somebody and you're doing side work on nights and weekends, it's fine as long as your employer knows that you're doing that. but you're also taking food off your table, as Claude puts it. Because a lot of times what I see happening in our area, and I totally disagree with it, is you got a guy, a mechanic. He's working in a shop for, let's say, me. And he's getting paid 22 bucks an hour. But on that 22 bucks an hour, he's got taxes he's got to pay for, Social Security and all that other good stuff. We match as an employer. So he ends up making less, right? But nights and weekends, he's doing work on customers' machines for $25 an hour. He's making money. But what he doesn't realize is that by doing that, it's drawing work that should have come through the shop to help support everybody at the shop, is now bypassing. It doesn't take long to get around that you're doing this on the side. And if you do it just once, then people will expect you to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And like I say, if you're in a do not compete clause, you can get fired on the spot. Here in New York, I can fire you on the spot for anything I want. But if I find out that you're taking work away from my shop that I'm trying to bust my hump to get, yeah, I'll let you go. I don't care how good a mechanic you are. You think you got it all figured out? Go do it. Make it a full-time job. Because running a shop is just not being a good mechanic. See, a lot of times your employees don't see the other side of it. And that's handling payroll, year-end taxes, having insurances, workman's comp, liability, family leave. I mean, the stuff goes on and on and on. And all these things cost money to the business. And we also have to collect sales tax for the state and turn them in, whether it be quarterly or annually, or every 6 months. But there's a lot more that I do as a business owner than just have someone that can repair stuff and then just take all the money in and yay, it's all mine. That's not how it works. So for you mechanics that are working for somebody, you might want to heed this warning, is stop. If your shop doesn't work on side-by-sides, four-wheelers and that, and you can create a niche for yourself on that on the sides, nights and weekends, that's fine, because you're not taking away from what the shop would be doing. But if your main forte is fixing lawnmowers, side-by-sides, ATVs and all that, and you are doing that nights and weekends to make extra money, you may want to get a good following because you'll probably be unemployed. And it won't take long for those shop owners to tell the other shop owners, this is what this guy was doing to us. Because if you're doing that, you're probably taking work from them too, right? Because you're doing it cheaper than the shops are willing to do. So on that note, you guys have a great Friday and have a great weekend. And we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching.